Tottenham Hotspur. It's happened again.
Need I say any more? Hello guys, how are you getting on? My name is Aaron Kelly. Welcome back to another episode of the Premier League Verdict here today. Before we get into anything, I'd like to ask you to subscribe if you haven't already. We're trying to hit 400 subscribers before the end of the month. 1,000 by the end of the year, which is a slightly more unrealistic target. And we've not got long left to do it now in February, so if you wouldn't mind, please subscribe. Tell your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister, your dog. Get your dog to make a Gmail account and subscribe to the Aaron Kelly channel, please. I'm desperate. It was a pretty eventful weekend in the Premier League, and I'd argue a very important one at both ends of the table. I'm going to start off with Chelsea, a 1-1 draw with Southampton, a disappointing one, especially when you consider Southampton have lost all 6 of their last 6 games prior to this Chelsea game. And Southampton, despite their lack of possession, took the lead just before half-time through their loanee signing from Liverpool, Takumi Minamino, his second goal since joining the Saints in January. A really good goal, really well taken, but just far too easy from Chelsea defensively. One ball through the middle, and to be honest, I do genuinely think if Thiago Silva were fit and playing, chances are that goal may not have happened. But we equalised soon after the break. Then Mason Mount, who was by far our standout player on the pitch. I thought N'Golo Kante had a good game as well. Apart from that, there were very few decent performers for Chelsea. It was Mount's penalty that drew us level. A point is all we took, and we were punished later on in the weekend for our lack of a win. But the biggest talking point from this game has to be the substitution from Thomas Tuchel and the decision to take off Callum Hudson-Odoi, having only brought him on at half-time. About half an hour later he takes him off, and after the game criticised Callum's attitude and lack of work rate on and off the ball for the reasoning behind taking him off. And I was very shocked to hear that there was, those types of intentions behind Thomas Tuchel's substitution, because I thought, to be honest, I thought Callum's performance was actually pretty good for the short time that he was on. I thought he was getting into good positions. His delivery wasn't always there, but for the most part he was positive and always trying to do the right thing. And it's a dangerous and bold move from Thomas Tuchel, and one that may or may not pay off, especially with such big games coming up, to take off one of your key performers and bash him in the media as much as he has. And it's not really a surprise. We knew Thomas Tuchel was this type of manager, the spiky type, as some people have gone to call him. We know that from his past experience with PSG and Dortmund, that he will have fights with the players, he will have fights with the media, he will have fights with the board. He'll pretty much fight with anyone that he gets a chance to fight with. It'll be interesting to see whether it has a positive or negative effect on not only Callum Hudson-Odoi, but the whole Chelsea squad as a whole, considering the important matches that we have coming up. Obviously Atletico Madrid tomorrow night and Manchester United on Sunday. 2 absolutely massive games and possibly season-defining games for Chelsea. Obviously Tuchel wasn't happy with Callum's performance, and probably wouldn't have been happy with many other performances on the day, because Chelsea just lacked that real killer instinct to put the game to bed, and were caught napping at the back, and Southampton capitalised upon that. Speaking of capitalising upon others' misfortune, West Ham, what a victory. This was the one time in my entire life that you'll probably see me ever cheering for Tottenham Hotspur to win a game of football, and I was cheering for you and you couldn't even do it.
It's happened again.
A fantastic 2-1 win for West Ham. Mikel Antonio and Jesse Lingard with the goals, despite Lucas Moura's goal in the second half, seemingly starting a fight back for Tottenham, who came close on multiple occasions through Heung-min Son and through Gareth Bale's terrific volley off the crossbar. Gareth Bale's performance when he came on, I will give special praise to that, because he was brilliant when he came on. And another player who's been taking a bashing from his manager within the media, and he's responded very well. But what a win for West Ham, a win that sees them taken into the top 4 of the Premier League. And who's to bet against them finishing in them Champions League spots comes the end of the season, because it's going to be very exciting. They have such a truly together squad, it looks like them players were playing for each other, playing for the shirt, throwing their bodies in the way, absolute warriors, every single last one of them. From Soufal to Soucek to Antonio to Declan Rice, who I've become an absolutely massive fan of, and of course Jesse Lingard as well, who's come in and looked an absolute revelation since coming in from Manchester United. But as for Tottenham, again, caught lacking, and a performance and a result that probably leaves Jose Mourinho under a little bit of pressure, who backed himself and his managerial staff within the media after the game. But Tottenham fans, if there are any of you watching, I know there are a couple of Tottenham fans that watch the videos, I haven't just made one video, I've made quite a few, will finishing outside the top 4 again, and say you beat Man City in the Carabao Cup final. Would you consider that progress under Jose Mourinho? Like, I would argue that if he comes in and wins the Carabao Cup and, you know, gives the Europa League a decent go, which is what he definitely alluded to in his post-match press conferences, that they're going to be concentrating a lot on the Europa League, Tottenham, towards the end of the season, to see it as a good route into the Champions League. If he wins the Carabao Cup and say even wins the Europa League but finishes outside the top 4, I would say that's Jose Mourinho's job done. That's what he's been brought in to do. And if he can do that, in my opinion anyway, it'll still go down as a relatively successful season for Tottenham Hotspur. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Despite a late comeback, which they looked so likely to score on a couple of occasions, West Ham held out and showed great character. Not to sound like Brendan Rodgers. Speaking of Brendan Rodgers, an old side of his just can't seem to get back to the way they were. Liverpool, with their first ever, I think, Merseyside defeat at Anfield since 1999. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was something along the lines of what I heard, after Everton beat them by 2-0. Richarlison with the opening goal after just 2 minutes, thanks to a brilliant assist from James Rodriguez. And then a late penalty, Dominic Calvert-Lewin deemed to be fouled by Trent Alexander-Arnold. Gylfi Sigurdsson stuck away the penalty for Everton, and to be quite honest, this penalty was an absolute joke. I don't think it had much bearing on the game, to be fair. I don't think the result would have changed much, if at all, had it not been given, because I do think overall Everton were definitely the better side at Anfield on Saturday. But this penalty was an absolute joke, and the fact that the referee went and took like half a glance at the VAR monitor on the side and then decided to still award the penalty anyway, I don't see there's an awful lot that Trent can do. I know he's obstructing probably a certain goal from Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but he's already on the ground. I don't really see what else Trent could have done to prevent that penalty. Either way, fantastic victory for Everton, and I was kind of writing them off last week after they were beaten by Fulham. But they're back, and they're back in force. I think they still might have one game in hand. I'm not overly sure on that. Don't quote me on that. But they're right back in the chase for Champions League football, and they're definitely a team to be feared. And Carlo Ancelotti, I mean, is a world-class manager. The fact that he's taken Everton to a place where they were to where they are now, that people are genuinely considering them for Champions League football next season, is incredible. But he's got an incredible squad of players there. That back three worked unbelievably hard and were very, very solid the weekend. Liverpool, you know, restricted Liverpool to very few clear-cut opportunities. Holgate, Godfrey and Keane. The wing-backs as well, Luca Digne and Coleman, were excellent as well. Tom Davies, another fellow that I got to give huge praise to, because I don't, you know, I've rarely seen Tom Davies play a good game for Everton, if I'm being honest with you, but I would argue probably his best performance in an Everton shirt at the weekend. And obviously Richarlison, brilliant finish. James Rodriguez, the man just oozes class as well. That pass, the weight on it was just perfect as well. And Liverpool, despite getting a big win over Leipzig in the week, just seem to be absolutely falling asunder at the minute. Liverpool fans, I know there are some of you watching as well. Let me know in the comments what the solution to this is, because this is more than just a blip at this point. This is a full-on capitulation of a season, it seems, for Liverpool, and poor title defence. Now, I know they've had quite a few injuries this season, but the general performance just hasn't been good enough. To finish off the video then, I'm going to do a quick little roundup of some of the bigger or other headlines from the weekend. And Fulham, what a big victory for them. A 1-0 win over Sheffield United. Ademola Lookman with the goal. And to be honest, I do think Sheffield United and even West Brom, who despite getting a draw at Burnley, still look to be well in the thick of it down at the bottom of the table. And it's kind of weird seeing a Sam Allardyce side being so, it seems, nailed on for relegation at this point in the season. And Sheffield United looking big trouble as well. They're putting up spirited performances, but they're just not getting results. And Fulham are right back in the chase for survival, especially considering the fact that Newcastle were defeated last night by Manchester United, who got themselves back up into second. I don't think they're back in a title fight, because Manchester City beat Arsenal thanks to Raheem Sterling's goal. I think United are well nailed on for top 4, but they beat Newcastle last night by 3-1. Marcus Rashford giving United the lead before a brilliant Alan Saint-Maximin equaliser, and no more than Newcastle deserved, to be honest, because they were actually performing quite well. And then second half goals from Daniel James and a penalty from Bruno Fernandes, wrapping up United's 3 points, moving them back up into second and leaving Newcastle right in the thick of it. And you know, United, as I mentioned, playing Chelsea next week, and I'm very much worried about that game, because United, I don't even think were at their very best last night. They could have been a lot better. Their passing wasn't as slick as it's been, and obviously they were playing Europa League during the week against Real Sociedad as well, so that probably plays a factor. No, it's a good sign, and it bodes well for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team, that when even they're not playing as good as we know they can, they're still getting results and still you know, comfortably getting results as well, which is the key thing. It wasn't so comfortable for Leicester City though, who, you know, despite racing into a 2-goal lead thanks to goals from Barnes and Maddison, were drawn back by Bertrand Traore in the second half, but they did go on to beat Aston Villa by 2-1. Jeez, I don't know where I was getting a third goal from there. They initially moved up into second, then United won to move back over them again, and I briefly mentioned it already, but Manchester City beat Arsenal to move 10 points clear, and I think 17 or 18 wins on the bounce now. This incredible team just doesn't look like slowing up. Raheem Sterling's early goal was enough to stay off the Gunners, who showed a bit more of a spirited performance in the second half, but still rarely tested Ederson. So that's a quick little roundup of those other games, and my thoughts on what's going to be, I think, a very tight race for the top 4. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Any predictions? How is that top 4 going to look come May? Because I mean, it's a bit of a poison chalice at the minute. I wouldn't be too comfortable with predicting how the top 4 is going to look by the end of the season at this point. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As I said, leave a like if you enjoyed. I don't think I've said that yet, have I? I'm saying it now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you are new around here, and I will catch you later.